always with them. Lord, we love you and we pray. We pray for you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right, Council, I need a motion on the work session minutes from April the 4th.
Mr. President, move for approval.
All in favor, raise your hand.
6 with 2 and 7 abstaining.
Okay. Need a motion on the regular council meeting minutes for the April the 4th.
Move to adopt.
And motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Going to be 5 with 2, 7, and 9 abstaining.
Okay. Tell me. Okay. All right, Mr. Mayor, you're up.
Good evening. Good to see everybody here. Before we get started with some of the news for the city, I would like to ask Mr. President if we can have just a moment of silence for the victims of the shootings in Dadeville, Alabama. Just everybody bow their head. Thank you. Starting off with that, I want to move to some positive news that the city would like to share before we get into the financial report. And that is the city has been presented with the Synergistic Energy Award. Montgomery Energy Specialist, Dr. Keisha Bailey, will present all of us with the Energy Star Award. This is something that we're doing because City Hall has earned the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's Energy Star certification for superior energy performance in 2022. This is something that we can all be proud of. This shows our commitment to climate action and protecting our environment. Preserving and protecting our resources also means we're preserving and protecting taxpayers' dollars. We saved $6.5 million since we leveraged this partnership with Synergistic at 50 city facilities. This has resulted in a 28% decrease in energy use. And so at this time, I want to ask Dr. Bailey to please come up at this time and offer any comments to the council as well.
Good evening. I am Dr. Keisha Bailey, and I appreciate the opportunity to be the first to say congratulations to you, Mayor Reed, the City of Montgomery, and specifically City Hall for being awarded the Energy Star certificate and award for savings for the City of Montgomery for over $6 million since the inception of the program in 2016. We look forward to working with you very closely, the company of Synergistics with Tom Pierce and the mayor in the future to preserve energy additionally. Thank you.
I want to thank Dr. Bailey and Synergistic as well as the rest of the staff for their commitment to clean energy, and you will be hearing more about our efforts to not only reduce carbon emissions, but also our efforts to be more environmentally conscious as we move forward with some other agreements and some other programs that we're working on that we not only believe will help City Hall, but will help the entire community. Now we want to turn to the Thriving Communities Grant Award. The U.S. Department of Transportation selected the City of Montgomery for funding through the Thriving Communities Program. This program helps 64 communities across the country have a fair shot to access historic funding opportunities provided by the President's bipartisan infrastructure law. The city will enter into a MOU or cooperative agreement that will help improve transportation in West and North Montgomery. As part of this agreement, we'll receive planning assistance and capacity building support for engineering to help transform the public transportation system, transformations from concept to completion. This cooperative agreement will also increase Montgomery's chances to receive a large amount of the more than $200 million in equitable transportation funding from the Biden administration. The U.S. Department of Transportation will put communities into groups based on our unique technical assistance needs. Montgomery is considered a networked community, or a city located near ports, airports, freight, and rail facilities to address mobility, access, environmental justice, and economic issues, including leveraging the proximity to these facilities for wealth building and economic development opportunities. This is truly just one step in the process of attaining more federal dollars to our city to assist us in many of the things that we have on our plate as mayor and council that we would like to fund, but often cannot afford to because of just how stretched the general fund is. So as we look for more and more federal funding and state level funding, as well as philanthropic funding, you'll see more of these opportunities, and we believe that these are things that will greatly improve and enhance the quality of life for many of our residents in areas that have not seen some of the progress that we would like. Now I want to turn our attention to just a few staff updates. We did announce just recently a new Chief Operating Officer, Jeremy Reed. He's former Maxwell Gunter Air Force Base Vice Wing Commander. We also announced the hiring of Shalicia Robinson as the Executive Assistant to the Mayor and Tony Porterfield as the Chief Technology Officer. If you all are here, would you please stand? I know I saw Tony here a second ago. All right. Thank you, Tony. Tony's our new CTO, and we're looking forward to making sure that along with his 2 decades of experience in corporate positions, as well as service projects and the mission to the United States Air Force and the DoD, that we can take our tech initiatives outside of City Hall and into our community to greatly enhance what we would like to see in a knowledge-based economy, and one that is inviting and one that sustains many of our already tech-savvy entrepreneurs. Shalicia will be the point of contact for the mayor's office, and she'll help manage the ins and outs of what we're trying to do day in and day out here at City Hall. So we're grateful to have all of them on board, and we're grateful for their talents and background and expertise that they bring to this community. Now I want to touch on a topic that we discussed before, and that is the Citizen Police Review Board. Creation of a Citizen Review Board to monitor the activities of interactions between civilians, our residents, as well as our Montgomery Police Department is one that many cities have really followed or initiated in several years prior to this. The board will consist ideally of 13 residents appointed to serve a 5-year term by the mayor and members of the city council. After investigating complaints, the board could then make recommendations for further action to be determined by the police chief and by the mayor. It's important that a review board be implemented because not only do I think it protects human rights, but I believe it promotes constitutional policing. It falls in line with the 21st century policing model that we're implementing here in our city, but it also increases public confidence and trust in the police. It builds those bridges between law enforcement and the public and supports effective policing. I also believe it ensures greater accountability and enhances risk management. The goals are to ensure that the police complaint process is accessible to all, and there are few, if any, barriers to filing those complaints. We want to make sure that in order to build the trust between the police and our community, that there is a transparency, and that those who may feel like they aren't entitled or aren't able to access information get that opportunity through those that will be members of this Citizen Review Board. It's also to ensure that investigations are fair and thorough, and to enhance the transparency, as I mentioned, around the policies, practices, training, and management of law enforcement agencies by analyzing patterns in complaints and other police-related data. We also believe that this reduces the legal liability associated with officer misconduct, and it'll improve the public's understanding of police policy, training, and practices. And so, as we've seen in many other communities around our state, and certainly around the country, this is a tool that is used to make sure there's that collaboration, to make sure that there is a working relationship between the community and our police department. It's one that we want to ensure we strengthen proactively as opposed to reactively when something unfortunate happens in our city. It shouldn't take the shooting of someone like Glen to force action. It shouldn't take the shooting of others that have happened in our city. These are things that we can do to try to be more transparent and to continue to build the trust between this city and our police department. And I believe enacting this review board will do just that. Now, I want to conclude, before the financial report anyway, with some upcoming events that we have. We'll have a Jazz on the River concert, which is a free concert at Riverfront Park, featuring Trey Daniels, Coleman Woodson III, and many others this Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m. The Move Montgomery Bunny Hop will be Saturday from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Union Station Train Shed. And Parks and Recreation Summer Kickoff and Family Fun Day will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday. The event will offer parents an opportunity to register children for the City of Montgomery summer programming, and it will feature inflatables, face painting, arts and crafts, and of course, free food. So we hope to see you all around the city, and we hope that you all will take part in one or all of the events that we have for folks around our community. Now, we'll move to the executive summary and just give a snapshot of the city's finances. I'll provide just an overview of the city's financial position and what we're projecting it to look like at the fiscal year end based on the March 31st data. Please be reminded that the comparisons of budget to actual revenues and expenditures is only a projection or forecast based on the data that we have available. As we get closer to the end of the fiscal year, there should be less of a variance in the projection and the actual fallout of revenues over expenditures. After the next few months, at least 1/3 of the seasonal revenues that come from activities at the zoo and parks and recreation venues will have been posted to the general ledger. Additionally, business licenses and ad valorem revenue should be nearly 98% collected. The budget to actual projection of revenue on the screen reflects nearly $6 million over budget, at fiscal year end, which is primarily due to how sales and use taxes, ad valorem taxes, and lodging taxes have trended during the first half of the fiscal year. Year over year, sales and use taxes are trending approximately 8% above the previous fiscal year. Ad valorem taxes are trending more than 12%, and lodging taxes more than 21% over the same year in FY 2022. Expenditures in the current year, budget to actual, are projected to be slightly less than break even. Since total revenue is trending 8% higher than it was at the same time in fiscal year 2022, and expenditures are projected to be slightly less than budget for departmental and non-departmental expenditures, it is projected that the city will be able to add nearly $5 million to fund balance, that's our reserves, barring any unforeseen emergencies. This addition will be a larger savings than what was added in the previous fiscal year, and it will continue to aid in getting reserves closer to 20% of the general fund budget. All that said is good news for us as a mayor and as a council. All that said is good news for those of you that are here in the audience tonight and for the taxpayers and the residents of the city of Montgomery. We're seeing positive trends in our finances. We're seeing positive trends in our savings. And anytime you have that, that's good news. And if you don't think so, just ask someone who lives in the city where this is not the case, and they'll tell you just exactly what they're having to deal with from a financial perspective. So I'm greatly appreciative of the staff all across the city and what they're doing. Greatly appreciate the council and the budget that we passed. And it looks like, again, we'll continue to rebound here as a city and as a community, and we'll look forward to investing more into our city as we move forward. So with that said, Mr. President, I thank you for the opportunity, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Good numbers. Ms. Johnson, you have Dr. Holloway here.
Yes, Dr. Holloway. Hey, Dr. Holloway, how are you?
There you
I brought Dr. Holloway up today, council, and everyone that's here, the constituents, to talk about, we have a healthcare issue here in the city of Montgomery, in the state of Alabama for sure, but definitely here in the city of Montgomery. And Dr. Holloway chairs our charity hospital board. And I wanted to talk to him and kind of us give him an okay to move forward with doing a survey of what the physicians are needing right now and what type of help are we giving to those community members that are underserved, and how we can be of assistance as a council and at the city level to assist in this healthcare issue that we're having in the city of Montgomery. So Dr. Holloway, I know you have some things that you can kind of talk about being in the profession for so long. Dr. Holloway was my doctor when I was a child, so, and my siblings, yes. So if you don't mind sharing some things that, I know we discussed some things a couple of months back, and we kind of just reached this point today about coming before the council to just discuss what kind of help that your board could give us when we're wanting to look at something like that. And then I kind of want to discuss maybe Mr. President Pro Tem on putting together a task force after he presents and tell us what that he can do.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. As she mentioned, I'm a practicing pediatrician, currently working at CareStar Mental Health. I'm also the medical director of Title V, State Title V program, CRS, as well as the consultant for Head Start. I think our paths crossed recently because I also serve as the chairman of the Joint Public Charity Board. And in one of our discussions a few months ago, she was mentioning, Councilor Johnson was mentioning some concerns in terms of some of her constituents not having access to medical care. And medical care access is actually one of the social determinants of health. The other ones would be the economic status of a community, the viability of the community, and as you know, you just got a grant which will impact one of the social determinants of health, also the educational status, as well as the economic status. So all those are social determinants of health, and that you can have the best healthcare system of the world, but if those systems are not functioning, then you still have a problem. And when we talk about access, what I've learned over the past and some studies have shown is that just because you have insurance, be it Medicaid or actually Blue Cross Blue Shield, doesn't necessarily, if you can't find a doctor, you still don't have access. So certainly that's a problem for Medicaid patients, but it's also a problem now in terms of our actual patients with Blue Cross Blue Shield, because I've had some recently I've had some adult friends who could not find an adult provider who was taking any new patients. So access is not necessarily a problem for lower socioeconomic status. So as we talk about access, I was mentioning to Councilor Johnson that I think maybe in the 90s, at that time, we were talking about Envision 2020. We, the Joint Public Charity Board, participated and helped fund a consultant to come in and look at the healthcare status and the availability of things that we had in the river region, so that we can kind of focus and make some decisions in terms of some of the things that we may need to do. Out of that came the partnership between Jackson HSI and the new building they had, and maybe some other things that came about as well. I think the crisis center was one of the things that eventually came out of that study. And so as we were talking, I was, well, maybe it's time for us to look at what's available in the river region of Montgomery County now. What are the gaps in services? How can we help those services? and what can we do to provide the services that the people of Montgomery need for adequate health care, be it insured or uninsured. And that's when I mentioned that we would be possibly able to help fund a study or a consultant to come in and do the work and give you the numbers and statistics and give you a good picture of where you are in 2023, 24 in this area and river region.
Thank you, Dr. Holloway. So that's what I want to see if, as a council, we can come to agreement to have the board go ahead and move forward with that study, because it's something that we really need to know.
I have one question, Dr. Holloway. Health Services Incorporated, where do they fit into this whole program? I know the city spent $11 million some years back to build a new facility for them, and then they have mobile units around. How do they fit in our situation?
Health Services receives 330 funds. 330 funds, they're supposed to have a sliding scale for the uninsured. They have multiple sites in Montgomery and surrounding counties. They have a large facility on Jackson's campus as well. One of the thoughts I think that Jackson had in mind when they made that land available is that maybe they would be able to shift some of their burden in terms of uninsured ER visits, and I'm not sure if that has actually taken place. So they are available. Sometimes it's hard to get in. They're not open 24 hours and they don't serve as an urgent care. So they are available, but it doesn't always take the burden of the care away from the emergency rooms.
They just work open just 5 days a week, 8 hours a day or something like that?
No, they have some after-hours clinics. I think they have a clinic maybe from 5 to 12 on Monday through Friday. They open on Saturday with an after-hours clinic from noon to maybe 12 or 11. They're closed on Sundays. But again, it's not necessarily an urgent care facility.
Okay.
Right. And I think you asked, Dr. Holloway, you made a point of Jackson wanted to do this for the emergency room so they can get those that are uninsured and those that are going to the ER for chronic issues rather than real emergencies to shift them to HSI. And that's why I thought it would be a good idea to get this study, because they're still there. We have wait times in the hospital right now in the ER 5 to 6 hours with people that really need help, but you have people with chronic issues there because they don't have a physician or the insurance to go to a physician day to day. And so it's some gap we need to fill. So that way we're not losing people in our city for chronic issues that they're not tending to or they don't have the access to tend to. So whether it's that us learning what resources that we have that we can give to the community in each of our districts, because this is a citywide issue, or is there something we can do? Because I know we've talked and I've mentioned to you all about the issues with Jackson Hospital and Baptist. Same thing, they're all having the same issues where there's a shortage in physicians, or it's just that our community is not going to get the routine care that they need. And if they are, how many of them are doing it? Which areas in the city are most affected, and how we can distribute the resources to the proper places without just eyeing it. Because if we're not going to Jackson, we're going to Baptist South or Baptist East, and they're citywide, so we don't know where the bulk of the people are coming from. But with this study, we can get that information.
Well, I have a question. My question is, tell me, where are we headed? What's your vision in doing this study? Because I guess my question is, are we considering taking on the responsibility as the city of Montgomery to start offering or being a source for health care or something along that line to the citizens? Because I'm just wondering, is that the focus of this?
Oh, yeah,
Is that the plan?
No.
Okay.
So
What's the
way,
end game?
yeah.
That's my question.
So
What's the end
the
game?
way we got to this is we have a grant right now with the city from doing COVID. We got a grant to go out and do the health fairs. We're doing the health fairs again, but people aren't coming. And those that are coming, they're needing more assistance. I've been hearing from the hospitals on what kind of assistance that they need. I've been hearing from the community and from different physicians. So in essence, a lot of the issues that we have within our communities when it comes to crime, education, just the whole quality of care and the quality of life for the city is based on a lot of things, and that's our health care, that's our education, that's where we live, our environment. So this is just one piece of that pie. that we can get the answer to, and we can start bringing resources in. And no, this isn't something that we'll pay for because they get the grants and they can do it from the Joint Health Services, but it's something that we can know as we're getting resources and people are coming to us with things that can help our community members.
So you're saying they'll
They'll get the grant. Right, we won't pay for
One
it.
thing, direct patient care is not necessarily the way you want to go. You know, I think one of the keys, because you never have enough funding to provide all the health care that you need, but you want to bring all the players in who are actually doing the services so that you can collaborate and maximize what they're doing. One agency that's doing that now is the Wellness Coalition, where you have HSI, you have Baptist, you have Jackson representatives, you have someone represented from the city and the county, and other community people who are in homeless coalition come together to try to get grants so that they can do health literacy, sign people up for Medicaid, COVID shots, flu shots, and those kind of things. So you need to get the players on board, see where you are, and how you can better collaborate what they're doing to get a better outcome.
So ideally, I would like to have them
I don't see
move
any reason why
forward.
they can't do that. I mean, we got,
They did come from you and the mayor appointed to that board.
So Dr. Holloway said that you would just need a official ask from the council on moving forward with the study.
And what is it that you want to do? Yes.
And so with the official response from us saying that it's okay for them to move forward, I would like to do a task force to get the information, probably with a couple of us, maybe an ad hoc committee to get the information needed.
but we're not going, the information is going to come from some consultant or whatever that knows what they're doing. I mean, we wouldn't know what to do.
Right, they'll be doing
'Cause
it.
I'm talking to hospitals every day about nurse shortage, doctors that you can't recruit, nurse shortage being the real big deal, and the traveling nurse problem that we got. All those things are creating problems in our hospitals now. And they're backing up on our paramedics, they're backing up on our ambulance service. So all those things are part of the problem.
Right.
And so I don't see it, I mean, whatever we need to do, I think it needs to be looked at, but because I think everybody's working on this deal separately.
Right.
Jackson's doing it, Baptist's doing it, HIS may be doing it also. But it'd probably be good to have one joint decision. So I'm good.
Okay, so is that all that you would need, or did you need us to vote on it, or we just saying that we can put together a task force? I'll be included on there, and maybe if the mayor would like to put somebody from his office on there, and with the hospitals, and we get the task force together and move forward.
And directions in terms of where you want to go, what kind of studies you want, and then we can try to help fund that.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good. Okay, thank you, Dr.
Okay,
Holloway.
thank you, Dr. Holloway.
Okay, first item, Madam Clerk.
Mr. President, item 1, resolution contributing $500,000 to United Way for the Flatwood community.
Mr. Pruitt.
Charlie, I talked to Susan in the hallway. They're waiting on some information from United Way.
Next week.
Yep, story of
Okay.
my life.
Item number 2.
Carrying this over to the next agenda.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Item 2, application for a restaurant retail liquor license doing business as Truth Bar and Grill at 305 Air Base Boulevard.
Representative of Truth Bar and Grill here, please. Mary King. I know Mary signed up.
Yeah, this Mr. Jackson right here.
Okay. And Mary, I've got a, is that a 2? 2, I think?
Yeah, Mary King, she's in that community, that's
Okay.
right.
Mary King signed up, okay. All right,
So, Mr. President, I know we had the public hearing, but I did ask them to go back and work together to see where we're going to stand today. So I know the public hearing has been had, but if it's okay, if I just can hear maybe from one representative.
one for the community and one for the...
Yeah, something like that. I mean, everybody don't have to speak. I know we don't have to draw it out. But,
Everybody here is probably apparently not for it.
right. Okay, so the group that's right here, y'all are in favor of the business. Is that correct? And how many of y'all live in the community? Two? Okay.
All right,
And then this is the group that is not for it,
okay.
not in favor. Okay, and all of y'all live in the community or have a stakeholder in the community? I know the pastor may not live out there, and he may, I'm not sure, but I know his ministry is there. Oh, he does live out there. Okay, good. Okay, I asked y'all to kind of work together. Were we able to do any of that? Was any conversation or communication had?
Well, I tried on Easter. We donated, me and my wife, we donated baskets to different churches. We also included their church as well. They gave the baskets back to us Friday, said that they didn't want them. So I did try.
Did you have any conversation with them, or did you just drop a basket off?
I dropped the baskets off. We talked to one of the people at the church. She the one told us how many kids was in there and how many baskets that they needed.
Okay. One person gonna speak?
I'm going to speak, then I'm going to turn it over to Stanley. My name is Mary King, and I'm the president of the Homeview Bama Association. And last time we met, which was April 4th, you asked us to get together, and you said they would contact us. We were not contacted to meet. They did not contact us to meet. But, of course, they did open, and we had to call the police twice, and we have videos where there were alcohol and other things on the premises. And I do not think they have an alcohol license. And that's why they're here, to get liquor license, but there was liquor on the premises, and we have video to show that.
Okay.
And we're still opposing.
And when you called the police, tell me the police call. Let's talk about that. What was that about?
Okay, hold just a moment, please. Mr. McKinley? Thank you.
On the first afternoon of the grand opening, there was so much traffic that there was no one out telling people where to park. So as the business went on, cars backed up so far that it was all the way down to the railroad track by the Maxwell Inn Hotel.
I know what you're talking about.
Eventually, I would say somewhere around 12 o'clock, my house is right there on Air Base Boulevard. There's a lot of noise going on. So my dogs are barking. I go outside. There's about 4 or 5 cars of people that are parked in front of my house. They never went to the club. They just pulled over, parked in front of my house. When you open the screen door, you can smell the marijuana. So at that point, I called the police. The police came. He said he went down and talked to someone at the establishment to let them know that they could not park down there. At the same time, I think it's about 9 or 10 o'clock, I called you on the phone and said, this is not working because I can't park, I can't get in, I can't get out. We need to rethink this or do something different. At that point, I went home, I finally got my car parked, I got my dog, and I walked up because I wanted to see exactly what was going on. In that cul-de-sac area where the water company has that building with all those brick cement posts in front of it, there was somebody from the club directing them to go around the posts to park up in the grass, which you're not supposed to park on the grass. So I took videos of everything I saw. I'll be happy to submit that if you'd like to see it. So I have that. Saturday night wasn't a big deal. They didn't have, at the beginning, it was kind of rainy, so they didn't have much. But somewhere around 1 o'clock, 1:30, car came up, pulled into what used to be the Marathon gas station, backed up in, headlights facing the street. So of course, when the headlights are facing the street, that's directly in my front door. So I sat, we waited. About 2 o'clock, we hear a lot of the horns blowing. So I'm thinking maybe it's an alarm going off or whatever. So I go outside, I can't see that far over, can't see what's going on. So I go back in the house. About 2:30, 2:45, there's doors opening and slamming of a car. So then I call the police, because now the car's been out there for almost 2 hours, and it hasn't moved. So the police come back out, the police go over, and then he's talking to whoever was in the car. When he came back over to me, he said, well, I hate to tell you, but it was 2 young people doing something they shouldn't have been doing in a parking lot. So I said, well, what I would like you to do is I would like you to wait right here and watch where that car goes to drop off whoever is the second passenger in the car, because we need to know where it originated from. And he sat and he waited, and that car went directly to Truth, pulled in their parking lot. Somebody got out of that truck and got in a car that was parked in their parking lot. Now, as far as trying to meet with them and talk to them, directly after the meeting, we were all gathered outside getting ready to exit. This young man in the shirt here that was just talking to you was really rude to the pastors and a couple other people that were standing out there. And they kept saying, well, y'all don't understand what y'all are doing to people's business. You don't know what you're doing to people's livelihood. And so the pastor was like, well, son, we have agreed to talk to you. We'll talk to you, just not right now. He wasn't trying to hear that. So the pastor kept saying, well, wait a minute, we can set up something. He turned around and said, you know what? Don't worry about it. Forget it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about nothing. And he walked off. That's why they didn't want to talk to him.
Okay. Well, Mr. Jackson, you know, the whole thing about this is, you know, I don't have a problem with a bar and grill. Very clear about that, a bar and grill. But because the bar and grill was already there operating, this Echelon, they of course had different hours from you, and they didn't have a crowd that maybe you have. They maybe weren't as known and didn't have the following you have or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's this community that you back into, and it's just not gonna work in this community if we can't build that some kind of way we find a middle place. And that's just all I kind of ask y'all to do is to, you know, task y'all with just trying to figure out how we work together. And if we couldn't, you know, I don't know why, but multiple conversations should have been had. It's kind of hard to do that going over on Sunday at church because, you know, they preaching, they having church. It's kind of hard to talk to them at that time, but a time outside of that would have been a good time. I know your wife did reach out to me to try to get his number, and I don't think I gave it to her. I didn't have the pastor's number, but I guess I could have pursued that a little more for her. But I never did hear back from her, so I wasn't for sure if she had navigated how to get it herself or not on that matter. But I can't approve the license, the alcohol license, with this community standing here. I mean, the people who live out there, if y'all want to say something, I give y'all an opportunity to say something, but we got, you know,
Mr. President,
churches.
before you speak, may I say
Ma'am?
something?
What's the big difference of the effect of us being there in that community? Like, is it negative?
Come to the microphone, please.
Come on up here.
Come to the microphone.
Are we negatively affecting that community in any way? I've been here for only 4 years. I've been that side of town multiple times. I see the same people there that I've seen for the last 4 years doing the same old things. I'm not saying that y'all aren't doing your part, but what are we doing to affect you all and what y'all are doing in the church, period?
Well, I think one of the things is kind of like the young man said, and it's just the start, right? We don't really know where it's going to go. But one of the things is that we've had businesses there before, and there were shootings. Somebody lost their life up there. The pastor shared that. You know, there were shootings, there were alcohol drinking, cars coming out of that little spot, you know, whatever. Just a whole lot on that community. Because, I mean, literally, y'all right there together. There's no separation between you. If there was a separation between you, that'd be something different too. But y'all right in their backyard. And so with it being that close, they have been very concerned about what businesses are allowed to operate right there in their community. They have been concerned about that, so.
Can I speak?
Yes, sir. Wait a minute.
All right, if we're open or not, it's still gonna be drugs gonna be sold. It's still gonna be guns over there. We are not causing the problem. Like, it's not us. Like, our first day, we were packed. Ever since then, it hasn't been that packed. People were parking next door. We outside picking up paper. I have somebody parking the cars. I mean, I'm doing everything that I could almost think of. I mean, I have a lot invested, like, for real. Like, this is how my family pay bills. There's no way possible that you can let a shot house and a dope house sit across the street from you, but somebody doing a legit business, you want to run them off. That's not fair.
I think they're trying to run
fair.
off the shot house and dope house too out there. They trying. I don't know if it's working, but they trying.
Mr. President.
Attack them. Don't attack them.
Can I speak?
Mr. President, Ms. Graham, and I listen at the neighborhood, and I know exactly what you're doing. You support your neighborhood. But some of the things that were described by the neighborhood, we can't hold any business on directly. responsible for if you park on the street doing whatever you're supposed to do. You know, wherever you know, that's not directly affecting the business. So my question would be, you say with alcohol on the premises, were they selling alcohol?
Yeah.
So we got video of them selling alcohol out inside the business?
We had a DBA, doing business as, so we did have an alcohol license by law on paper.
Okay,
So they did a transfer. So the people who already had the license
Okay.
kind of transferred it over.
okay.
And so,
So that
but,
was-
and let me say this, Mr. Calhoun, when they met with the Jacksons, at the business, it was maybe about three of them that's here now. One of the things they asked them was about traffic, because there was a concern there, and they told them they would control the traffic. So I understand just the initial thought that, well, you can't control, you know, that where people park, but they did tell the community, we're gonna have people out there. We're gonna make sure, you know, people parking where they need, you know, we're gonna be monitoring that. And I just think it may have got away from them on the first day. I do think that after that they kind of nipped that in the bud a little bit, but then I hear Mr. Stanley saying that even the second day, there was somebody who left the club. Now, I guess when you leave, you know, you can't control that, they leaving, but they didn't know they was going down the way to park in an empty parking lot and have,
But you
do
are,
whatever they did.
you are responsible for your patrons, whether they're on your property or not, because you brought them there, and they are there for you. So you are responsible for them.
Well, now when they, you know, when. it's
even when
just
they
like-
leave.
But that wouldn't be no different than me going to, you know, a restaurant and having dinner, and I might have a glass of wine or something with my dinner, and then I leave. When I leave, that is not that restaurant's responsibility. When I leave.
When you leave that facility, if as long as you're not affecting that community, it's not that restaurant's responsibility, because you're not coming there for, you're not affecting that community. But when that restaurant is in that community, they are responsible for that.
I think we've had enough.
And my last thing, and I'm reading the application, is for a restaurant liquor license. And I understand, I would love to give them a chance, but it's on the council person. When we look at a restaurant liquor license, I think we're saying that we'd rather see a building sit in the community empty. And one statement that it made, if we was to start holding people accountable, whether you live inside that community before you can open up a business, Montgomery will fold.
That's not what I'm saying.
No, but that's what I heard you say.
No,
You know,
I said,
what
when you,
someone said.
that's not what I said.
No,
Now
I said, I heard someone say it.
Okay.
From the opposing side, saying,
Okay.
well, they don't live in the community, but they're trying to invest in your community is what I'm seeing. Instead of seeing a closed business with nothing there. And, you know, when we look at things from a Montgomery standpoint, we have to look at tax revenue, we look at things, and I think they'll be good neighbors. I just think over 2 weeks, no one made an effort to try to talk. You know, when you had an opportunity to talk right outside, that was the opportunity where everybody is together. So we got to make exception to try to talk and work together.
When
You
the
know,
business
let me
owner tells
finish.
you,
Let me
when,
finish.
go ahead.
Let me finish. Because when we talk about we can't, I hear this all the time, we can't get things, we want the right fix in every community. But we can't pick and choose the businesses that we want. It's just like when we say we don't want alcohol, what if it's a Walmart or what we just talked about, a Buc-ee's wanted to come on that corner right across from Maxwell Gunner. We're going to say no because they're going to sell alcohol? You know, people make choices every day. And I'm not pro, I want to do what you guys are saying. I understand what Ms. Graham was talking about, but when we got young people coming in who want to invest in your community, it's kind of hard to just say, let's push them away because we don't want alcohol. We don't want this. We don't want this. And I hear people all the time about, it's a return on your investment. I wouldn't invest in an area that I'm not going to get a return on my investment because, you know, most people say, well, I want a playground. Let's do something for the kids. But I'm investing. That's how they make their livelihood. So we have to understand and try to work together as a community. It's just my standpoint. Stop saying, well, we don't want this. People parking. We can change the parking. That's what we have MPD for, to come get parking. Let me finish. Holding people responsible for people coming outside and saying, watch where they went back into. That was a choice that those patrons made to go do whatever they did. They had nothing to do with that. And you said young people. People make choices all day. We're trying to give people opportunity to do business. I think this business was downtown, and it has something with their lease that they're trying to move in what we call West Montgomery. You know, and we look at what we're doing on Maxwell Boulevard, that's an opportunity, a restaurant. It's like your Applebee's in your community. It's just not called Applebee's. But we're blocking every opportunity for people to go in business, young people to do business, and try to do the right thing. We can work through all kinds of situations. Let's communicate, let's talk. And if you got some issues with something, if they can hold, give them a chance. And if they're not doing what we need to do, we just like we give a license, we can revoke a license. Amen. So that's all I'm saying. Let's not, and you know, follow the lead. I'm just not in support of not denying these people a business license because of what I'm hearing. You know, those are the things that we're trying to go forward. We try to grow empty buildings and drive taxes so it don't be boarded up. That's what we change property values by something. And I went by it today. It's a nice looking facility, painted looking good outside. But you know, if it was an Applebee's, we would be saying we don't want alcohol.
Okay, I think we've had a long enough discussion.
Yeah, and let me say this, because I did try to get a conversation going with you all. Echelon Grill was there before you. And there was, I think, Ms. Gwen Hampton came down and opposed that. But their times were different, their hours were different, they were just a grill, which is what you're supposed to be. And so we passed it, and they had little to no complaints about that bar and grill. They were there and they sold alcohol, but their hours were according to a bar. You know, so you go get your lunch or whatever, your dinner. Now, when I spoke with your wife, she told me that your hours going to be just on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that sound more like a club than a bar because you're not open because you got to sell a certain amount of food. But then Monday through Wednesday and stuff, I can't come get lunch. I can't, you know, grab any dinner.
All right, we are actually open Friday through Tuesday. I'm actually getting more staff now. We're supposed to be open right now. But next week we will be doing lunch if you pass the license. But yeah, I just want to say this also. It's an ABC store less than 200 feet across the street.
Absolutely.
It's a gas station that stays open 24 hours that sells alcohol 200 feet away. I don't understand. Like,
So the point would be, why do we want so many? Why do we want to saturate one neighborhood with so many places that sell alcohol that brings all those problems?
Hold on one second.
But did you fight ABC?
We sure
Hold
did.
on, y'all. Hold on one second. Let's not talk about that because I was very instrumental in putting an ordinance in place that we don't allow them so close to each other. So if we went by that, then it wouldn't be approved just for that right there. So we ain't gonna talk about it like that because you're not selling alcohol for off-premises consumption. You're selling alcohol as a bar and grill to have a glass of something with your dinner. It's different. It's not the same. So you don't compare you with them because y'all not the same. Y'all do something totally different. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna force y'all to try to work together anymore. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna deny it. I don't know how this council gonna vote, but I'm gonna put a motion to deny it just because you have not worked together. And at the end of the day, Councilman Calhoun is correct. We could bring it back if it didn't go a certain way, but this community has showed up twice to say that there's no effort made on them or you for that end to speak. Whatever the reason is, you know, I don't know. But if y'all can't work together just to come down here and say we're gonna try to get it done, because I asked y'all to even get out and knock on doors. Don't depend on just the few that are here. Go knock on the doors in the community. That's what I kind of asked your wife to do, and just talk to the people, the whole neighborhood. Don't limit it to who will come here, you know, and just see if you can garner some support from the community. But here we are again, and so I'm gonna do a motion to deny the application.
Have a
That's
motion
just
to
what I
deny.
said.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Do we have to spin the rules on it or not?
No, it's
Okay.
all business.
Okay.
All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, same sign.
Wait just a minute, I've got to get the count. Put your hands up again, please. 5.
To deny?
Yes, ma'am. Here, I need the no votes.
Okay?
Okay, I'm missing one. Mr. Mitchell. You're abstaining.
Okay.
The motion to deny carries by 5 votes.
Okay.
Motion denied.
Well, Ms. Miller, why did you record my vote?
I voted you as a no vote,
Meaning no.
no to deny. You're
Okay.
voting no.
No, I'm
to
not in
deny.
favor of denial.
We have 3, 9, and 5 that voted no to deny.
right,
And the
thank
others were voted yes.
Very good. Okay. Next item.
Item 3, review of Bama lanes at 3020 Atlanta Highway.
Mr. Landers and Ms. Reed, Kim Reed. Kim Reed here?
She's coming up right now.
Okay. Right in the middle, please. I thought we were reviewing Bama lanes, huh?
Yes, sir, we are.
So they stepped back.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Lander. Mr. Lander, your name for the record?
Steve Lander.
Okay. All right. Mr. Mitchell, you were going to ask some questions? No, this is all right, Ed.
Mr. Landers, we called you in because we've had a couple incidents out there. Unfortunately, as you and I talked about earlier, in January of 22, we had a young man lose his life, and it's just as bad as it gets. And then we had another shooting, so we just kind of want to get you down here and make sure that we don't have anything going forward, that we're doing the right things, and the police is here. And I think you told me that you're closing at 11 now?
Yes.
Okay. And I think most of the things occurred after 11, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's a great start. That's an absolutely great. Major Hall, you got anything to add?
No, sir. He's doing what we asked him to do. We've been out there multiple times with these serious incidents, as you're aware. One of those incidents was loss of life. That case has been closed, and we're currently investigating the other major one that occurred on March 11th of this year.
Okay. Mr. Williams, I am fine with you closing your hours. I think we're going to get it back to the bowlers and not the partiers and the other type. I think as you know, you got to keep an eye on anything, but stay in touch with the police department, ask them for anything, any help by security, anything
We'll
you
take
can
any
do.
help that they can provide. The more help, the better. We have our own security force, Guardian Security. We have 2 guys that are out there every night. They're wanding people outside the front door, checking IDs, doing everything outside before they let anybody on the premises. The incident that happened in March, the people that were involved were never customers. They just pulled into the parking lot, I guess looking for a certain person. That person happened to be in the back of the parking lot. He started running. Somebody got out of the pickup truck and shot at him. I wish we had the video. You'd see that. We are, in that instance, we're as much a victim as anybody else. I hate that gentleman that got shot. That's terrible. The first thing of death, you can't imagine how bad that affected me and my family, all my employees. We would never want something like that to happen. We don't encourage it to happen. We don't do anything to make it happen. People are just, they're just a little bit different now than they used to be, 56 years ago when I started working at that location. And we've just always been a family fun, entertainment center. Like I say, we've been there for 62 years. Had no trouble for the first 61. And then you have an incident where somebody's looking for somebody and they come and find them, and unfortunately it had to be at my place. We've
Right.
not to whine and cry, but we've lost well over $300,000 in sales since the first incident happened. We're just hanging on by the skin of our teeth, but we're still spending the resources to have the security service there. We have our own security also inside the building.
Let me ask you mentioned cameras. Your cameras connected to the Star Watch so they can look and see what's going on in the parking lot?
I don't believe so. I don't think we're that sophisticated.
Okay.
No, sir, they're not connected. They do give us access and have given us access every time we've asked.
Sounds like a winner. Okay.
I'll get Captain Williams to follow with them and see if they'll be accessible, though.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question. Do you have metal detectors now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you have a sign posted, no guns allowed, and
Yes, ma'am, and we're not allowing anybody under the age of 18 to come in without a parent or guardian.
oh, good.
So we're trying to do everything we can, but just like did any of y'all see the March incident tape?
I did not.
Y'all haven't seen that?
No.
Well, I think when you look at it, once they let you get to that point in their investigation, you'll see that, just as innocent as you are sitting there. We haven't done anything. These people just showed up looking for somebody that always happens to be in my parking lot. I don't know if it's because we're the first business from the downtown area, into Montgomery or what, but, back in the old league and Lanier days, they'd all stop there to have their big fight and everything out in front of the bowling alley. And I don't know if y'all remember that, but that was, back in the 60s. But we're doing everything we can, back right after the incident happened, we were spending more money on security than we were actually making. I've been funding that operation out of my pocket for over the last year.
Mr. Leonard, I appreciate you coming down. I do. And you got a question?
Yeah, I know you're saying your bowling alley is closing, but you have a lounge. You have a lounge as well.
Yes, sir, and that closes also
at 11.
At 11, yes.
So are they connected? Do you go in the bowling alley and get to your lounge, or how's it?
Yeah, they are connected by double swinging doors.
And how often are you do you have a manager that runs your bowling lane? Are you there, or you have a manager that runs your bowling lane?
Yes, sir. We have somebody there on site who's management. It's usually the guy that's behind the desk is the person in charge every night. And then each section, the snack bar has its own manager, and the lounge has its own manager. So
I do want to clarify one thing for the March 11th incident. Through the investigation, this incident actually did start inside with an argument inside the facility. While the shooting did occur outside, the actual argument started inside the facility and then went outside the facility. So I want to clarify that. It actually started within in this case.
Okay. All right, anybody, any other questions?
Yeah, one person speaking.
And we had Kim Reed wanted to speak?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
How y'all doing?
Hello, how you doing?
I'm Miss Reed, and my son Jeffrey Reed was killed at the bowling alley, and it happened inside. Okay, with the security part, I can get a witness to come and let you guys know about the security part. He do not want to hire MPD because it's too much. I feel like if MPD was there, then it would probably be handled a little different. The security is not secure. They outside trying to cope the young ladies. They is not doing their job. And the employees that work there, like they say he's shortage of staff. Sometimes the security guards have to come in and work as workers. I can get this proof for you. Matter of fact, one of his managers just recently quit, said that the incident started inside with a fight, and then the young man, he was waiting on the other young man to come out the door, and he liked to shot her in the face. So I feel like it's gonna be more problems if we don't boost up some type of security. Okay, he have a curfew, but my son was an innocent bystander, got killed inside his place.
Okay.
Kimby, what was the date for Jeff?
Ma'am?
What was the date for Jeff?
January the 9th.
January the 9th.
And then all you want to worry about is your money secured, and you're not worried about the safety of people or families coming there to enjoy themselves. My son would have never thought that his life would have been taken there. He went there with his friends to have a good time. My son had a future ahead of him. He was going to be a fireman.
Okay. All right, anybody else?
I want to say something, please. Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Okay.
1 second. Yes, ma'am.
That night,
What's your name?
my name is Lucinda Petway. That night of that morning of the killing, that night, I was passing by Bama Lane because I had been out shopping, and it was out the 11th. And what I saw out there, I saw a cruiser, a police cruiser out there with a blue light on. I saw that. And he was about 15 feet from the door or something like that. He didn't know what was going on. You talking about security? y'all need to beef it up real good. How in the world did the young man get in there with a gun? Under his coat? Where was the security then? I know Mr., I don't know his name, but I know he was out of town. He was out of town. But his manager should have did their job.
Okay. Anybody else have questions?
Yeah, for
Thank
the
you, ma'am.
manager.
Okay.
I was just going to say that we did have a Montgomery City policeman sitting out front, not more than 25 feet maybe at the most from where this incident happened. So we did have somebody, and we were paying him $40 an hour to be out there and help protect the public. So what she said was absolutely not correct. We did have a Montgomery City policeman. We had one there every night up to that point, you know, for months on end.
Mr. Lander, let me ask you one other question. You say you have a metal detector. Is that something new, or have you always had that?
No, that's something new.
So that's after that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And your cameras, they're inside and outside.
Ma'am?
Your cameras for your facility, your surveillance
Yes,
is
ma'am.
inside and outside.
Yeah, that's how we saw those guys out in the back parking lot doing what they were doing the other night.
Okay.
And you have hired security now instead of just the police department. You have on-site
Yeah, we
security
got
officers.
two security guards from Guardian Security that are out there every night from 7 to 11. We're closing earlier now, so the hours are a little bit limited.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the next item. Thank you. Thank you. All right, number 4.
Item 4, review of Rockin
I
Jump
hate to say the same
Montgomery
thing
at
that
5544
Church
Atlanta
is
Highway.
Robert Hunt.
Good evening.
Ed, you got this?
Yeah, I guess. Yes, sir.
Rockin' Jump.
Again, we've had some incidents in your parking lot, and tell me about your business and what you're planning, what you're doing, and all that.
Okay, yes. So first of all, safety is always going to be our number one thing that we focus on there. Everybody that I hire, I train them to be like lifeguards, especially on the inside. They're supposed to interact with guests, make sure they're doing crowd control and things of that nature. Our motto is have fun and fly safe. I know that I was here for Rockin Jump, but I've been the general manager here for 2 years now. We're under new ownership now for a year, and we've changed to Sky Zone,
Okay.
which is marketed more towards the market that we currently have in our business, which is 12 and older.
Okay. So what time do you close?
Sunday through Thursday, we close at 8. Friday and Saturday, we close at 11.
Okay. So we've had some instances. Tell me about those. How did they happen?
A few of the instances have been, no better way to put it, but lack of parental guidance with minors just being there without having anybody there to watch them, or a lot of the times it's where children will be dropped off in the parking lot and they don't have anywhere else to go. The MAPCO over there actually started closing a lot earlier because kids were going there and just loitering the place and making their business worse there as well.
Are the kids still being dropped off without parents?
Yes, unfortunately, sir. We have started a policy to where after 7 o'clock, if you're 18 and under, or if you're under the age of 18, you have to have parental guidance.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, some of the parents like to bring their children around like 3 or 4, and then they'll be there until about almost till we close.
Oh, wow.
So if they drop them off at 3 or 4, which is fine to do, but if they don't come back until 11, what do you have any kind of recourse for that? Are you taking their names?
With the new update in our name and we got brand new systems, which allows us to alert certain customers, so that when they come in, we can put alerts on their waivers and stuff like that. Just stuff like, customers constantly left here without parental guidance, stuff like that, so that we can be better at catching these things before it happens. That way, you know, because we don't want to ever kick a minor out for doing stuff because, one, they're a minor, I don't want them out on the street at a certain time. However, once we do finally get everything integrated and my managers and my employees understand how to use the system, I'm very positive that we'll have more of a positive impact for the community.
So once you get it and the mom or dad drops this minor off, how are you going to prevent that? I mean, you're not going to let them come in?
Well, after a certain time, we ask them where their parents are if they do try to come in by themselves. What the kids will try to do is our front desk will get pretty packed and there'll be lines, and so they'll kind of snake through the lines and sneak out and go to the bathrooms and just kind of hide out in there. So we do have bathroom checks every 30 minutes to an hour just to check and make sure everything there is, you know, how it's supposed to be.
Ms. Grimes, let me ask you a question, because I remember at Rockin' Jump, it was timed, and you had bands and the band colors. Has that changed?
No, ma'am. We actually went down every 15 minutes now. So before with Rockin' Jump, you either jumped every hour or every 30 minutes.
Right.
Now it's hour, 15, 30, or 45. So it's made tracking things a lot easier.
So the ones that are there for that extended period of time, you can keep better track of them
Yes,
now, right?
absolutely.
So are you gathering them in the front, and how are you controlling that group now that everything has changed?
So how I train, really that's like a management thing. I train my managers to really know like their customers and their market, to really interact with the guests. And the biggest thing that I'm really working with them on is noticing when a child has been there for an extended amount of time. Because granted, we do have like all-day passes and VIP passes and stuff like that, but of course those kids will get those VIP bands. So those are the customers that we're looking for, and if we see a customer there that has on a band that's already been called, or they don't have on a band at all, that's when I instruct them to start asking a lot of questions.
Okay.
Mr. Grimes, I have one question. I know Rocket Jump used to have lock-ins. Do you guys do lock-ins?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
So when those big parties are happening, is that an individual having a party at your facility? How's that party getting so large? And, you know, I know some days it's a large party, some days it's not. Are they putting it on social media? How's that party getting out of hand?
Well, a lot of it's not really party, they're just groups. And so, like I was saying, a lot of the friends will be like, hey, my mom is taking me to Rockin' Jump at 3. Make sure you're there because we're gonna stay. And then it just snowballs like that where children communicate, and now we got a lot of children being dropped off.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Anything
you.
else?
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Number 5.
Item 5, review of Brookwood Apartments, 2201 Upper Wetumpka Road.
Ms. Johnson?
Hi, good evening. I know last time we spoke, we talked about the updates in security and those measures. I wanted to get an update on how that's looking, and the reason I brought you here today, so you can go ahead and move forward with it, is maintenance. I've been getting a lot of complaints about the maintenance with your residents, where they're not getting the right maintenance, or they're not getting their carpets changed, they may have some mildew, and they feel neglected. So I just wanted to get some updates on those two things, the security measures and the maintenance.
Just to give you an update on the security, we actually have finally found a camera company that was reasonable.
Can you talk in the mic, please? And can you give me your name, too?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My name is Donna Bruce.
Okay.
I'm with Guardian Asset Management.
Thank you.
Okay. As far as the security measures, we finally found a camera company that their bid was very reasonable to us. And we've worked out, and if their schedule permits, they're actually going to install the cameras next week.
Oh.
So we're hoping, that will go as we plan. As far as the carpets being replaced, that's pretty much on a unit-by-unit basis. We're at the point now that every time someone vacates, we do install new carpet, unless the carpet's, just recently been installed before the tenant gets there and it's not damaged. Some of our existing tenants, we've offered to change the carpets. The problem that we run into is because of the liability of their furniture or anything getting damaged, cannot move the furniture around to get it done. So we're telling them, you know, if you want to do it, we'll make arrangements. We'll tell you today, you'll move your move your furniture. We'll replace the carpet, and it's up to you. And a lot of them have declined doing that because they don't want to move their own furniture. So that's the issue with the carpets, and I'm not really sure, you know, what other complaints you're having.
Toilets, bathroom sinks. There was some complaints about the toilets not being cleaned or fixed as if it's running over and maybe running into the apartments.
The only thing that I know, and Jessica, you can correct me if I'm wrong, was we did have a sewer line that broke.
Okay.
And that was back in, it's been going on for a couple of months, and we finally found somebody in February that replaced that whole sewer line to that one building. So that's the only one that I'm aware of as far as that is concerned.
Okay.
That's been reported to us.
And did it affect their carpet in those apartments? Any?
And let me let Jessica,
Okay.
she's the manager.
So with that being said, if it was that when there was, let's just say, a stoppage in the unit, I did get the carpet cleaned. There was no feces on the carpet, if that was the concern, no ma'am, but carpet was cleaned. We had a wet bag, it was clean. We made sure that there was no mold or anything like that. When the carpet company comes out, they treat for mold as well. I just recently, I inspect every month I'm in the unit, sometimes twice a month. I just recently did inspections last week. There are no issues. Like she said, with that particular incident right there, that was the issue that we were having, but it was resolved, and we haven't had any more issues since then.
Okay. Painting. For your long-term residents, the ones that have been there a little past 5 years, how are you doing those paints in the
So
interior?
with that, it is still a case by case. Of course, when someone moves out, we do repaint the unit. Since I've been there, I have gotten units repainted for the tenants that have been there 10 plus years, but it is a case by case situation. Again, for liability reasons, the tenants will have to be responsible for, moving their furniture, moving the paintings and things that they have on the wall off in order for us to do that.
Okay. And paving of the parking lots, what does that look like?
Yes, ma'am. So I have gotten estimates on that as well, and I'll be submitting that to corporate. It's not necessarily that it's the parking lot. There are some potholes in the parking lot that does need to be taken care of, but our trash man picks up 3 days a week. Not only that, besides the trash company coming out, we have constant delivery trucks that are coming out. And so this has been done over a period of time, but it just, we have to continue to get that taken care of, but they will be receiving the estimates on.
Okay. And the lights were, it was some new lights installed. I kind of saw some, but I didn't know if they were new or were they old light poles.
Those, you're probably speaking in reference to the power lights, and the only thing I did was just make sure that we had adequate lighting. So all the power lights are working. There are no lighting issues at this current time.
Okay. Thank you. That's
You're
it.
welcome.
All right, thank you all.
Okay, thank you. Number 6.
Review of Evergreen Estates, 4590 Troy Highway.
Hello,
Your name?
T.C. Brown.
Okay. That's you, okay?
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
A couple of questions. I know a couple of years ago you guys had security at the front, at the security gate. What happened to your security? That was my biggest concern. I have a large Hispanic population out there, and they're kind of fearful, and I just want to know what happened to your security.
So we had a functioning gate arm.
Yes.
But very often, our residents sometimes have those utility trailers that they work with, and the arm would come down, and when their truck makes it through, and then the utility trailer would take the arm out several times, and it kept happening. And then a couple of times it would malfunction, and we'd have lines out to Troy Highway. And so instead of having an arm, we actually hired security,
Yes.
a company. And that has been so much more successful.
So I've been out there lately. I hadn't seen to have the security company started.
Oh yeah, he is very active.
Okay, and I know I've been out there recently. You guys are doing a lot of cleaning up.
Oh, yeah.
And what about your trailers? I think I only saw one trailer out there that looked like it was boarded up.
Yes.
Can you tell me what you do when those trailers are not in use? Do y'all make sure that they are closed and locked?
Oh yeah, we've had several homes that were abandoned. So someone owned the home, they stopped paying rent, and then they disappeared, but they left the home there. And we found that that was not good for the community at all. So we wait a certain period of time, and we try for ownership. We file for eviction, and then if no one claims that home, we demo it.
Okay, I appreciate it. Like I said, I've been out there for the last two weeks, seeing the work that you guys are doing, and like I didn't see the security guard, but I will go out there. But thank you so much.
Oh, he'd be more than happy to meet with you.
Thank you for being in my. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
That's it.
Okay. Number 7.
Item 7, ordinance establishing a citizens police review board within the city of Montgomery.
We're going to have a public hearing on this next week, next council meeting also. Tonight you have Jamal Brown that signed up and Miss Dr. Emily Jackson.
You're just going to have one public hearing the next council meeting?
You will have a public hearing next time.
Mr. President, I think we asked in the last meeting that we do this for the 2 consecutive meetings in May.
That's why I was asking.
Yeah, let's do it 2. Give the community the opportunity to come speak pro or against it, and then we'll
Mr.
make a
Chair,
decision.
is that what you want to do?
Good idea.
2 in
All right, you can have
May?
3 minutes.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. There's nobody, in my opinion, more suitable to talk about the Citizen Police Review Board but me. I've been active all my life, since I was 7 years old as a preacher and as an activist in Montgomery. 2 things has been my calling: ending black-on-black crime and ending police harassment. I have never been exempt. I had my run-ins with MPD in the past, just like those thousands of people that I fight for every day. I want to thank the mayor for reaching out with me and some other activists back in 2020 as we had protesters across Montgomery during the George Floyd situation. And before then, during when my uncle, Greg Gunn, was killed. And that's one of the things that we talked about was a Citizen Police Review Board. We didn't get it under Bobby Bright, we didn't get it under Todd Strain, but we got it under Mayor Reed, and I am happy. I also want to commend Vice President Calhoun for taking this baton and pushing it. But let me say this, and this may be a shock to everybody what I'm about to say. Alvin Holmes used to say, 95% of MPD is bad, the other 5% good. If my mentor was here today, I would tell him, Mr. Holmes, MPD is much better. MPD needs funding, they need a raise, and they need recruitment efforts right now. This is the capital of Alabama, the birthplace of the civil rights movement. And it don't make no sense that our officers have to pick up side jobs, part-time jobs. They're underpaid, they're underfunded, and it's not going to work. I sent a screenshot of a message to one of you all. When I dialed 911 for a traffic incident I was involved in, they told me we'll get you a unit when there's one available. We only have 200-some plus patrol units right now on the city of Montgomery streets with 200-some thousand residents and 4 detectives working homicide cases. Montgomery need our officers back. They need our support. I haven't met this new chief, but I believe all those men and women to my right, I believe they're doing a very good job trying to improve the Montgomery Police Department. And I said it's strange that I say that because at the old building, Mr. Pruitt, Mr. Calhoun, and Mr. Jen Wright, you remember, I was very critical of MPD almost every first and third Tuesday. But tonight, I'm going to support our men and women in the blue. Because right now, here's the shade. MPD not looking like Ripley Street right now. It's looking a lot like Lawrence Street. Because Sheriff Cunningham is having a field day with new recruitments coming from MPD. We have a problem. We need to fix that. And we also need to hold them accountable. They must be held accountable. But we need to pay these people also. And we need to look at recruitment. We need recruitment bad. 200-some thousand city council members of residents and only 200-some patrolling.
Okay.
The lady on Wayne Street, that incident. You can't go into a grocery store without somebody want to do something to you. We need to support our police department. And I just want to tell them I support y'all.
Thank you very much.
So you're in favor of the citizen review? I just want to make sure we got you.
Yeah, I'm in favor, but we need to keep in mind,
Okay.
we need to keep in mind that they still need our support. And you said it. Mr. Cameron, did you not say we don't want a weak police department? We want a strong police department. So I'm in favor, but like we did it for the sanitation workers, let's give these people a raise. Let's give them a raise.
All right, next person, please.
One more thing before I sit down. One more thing. I believe that we ought to show them support tonight to let them know the city of Montgomery do have their back by giving them an applause tonight.
Okay, next person. Dr. Jackson?
Do you want me to time these?
Yes, ma'am. 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Emily Jackson, and I'm in full support of the Citizen Police Review Board. I live in Normandale, and there's a house on the corner of Wesley Drive and Burn Drive. And that house is abandoned, and it's boarded up. And there are multiple gunshots coming from that area, multiple 30-round rapid fire being shot from that area on a regular basis. So because of that and the danger that causes our community, that's why I support the Citizen Police Review Board.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We'll have an open session. We have a...
Mr. President, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
I know you guys say you want to hear from the community. Is it okay for the ones that are supporting the Citizens Police Review Board to just stand because they didn't want to come
Yeah,
up
if
and
they can
speak?
just stand, be fine, yeah.
If you would, just go ahead and stand if you support the Citizens Police Review Board. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.
And,
Okay,
Mr. President,
next
I did,
item.
Hold on. If there's anybody in opposition in the room today?
Anybody opposed?
Nobody opposing here today? That's good to know too.
And Mr. President, I did get some response via email that I told my constituent that because they're at work, that I would let the council know. They had one concern, and that was section 2-1 about the elections of the board members. And they was asking that we remove that, give each council member one appointee and the mayor one appointee. That was their only objection, but they are in support of it. Oh, no, sorry, I'm sorry. They do not support it. And this was from Mr. Barker. And I did tell him I would make it mention that they emailed me. And
All right.
so.
Next item. Next item.
Item 8, ordinance amending ordinance number 59-85, designating Garden District Historic District.
Okay, Mr. Adams.
Warren Adams, Land Use Control Administrator. I'm here to answer any questions, if you have any on this application.
Just enlarges the district, right?
Yes.
Okay. Council, you had questions? Not, I need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to approve.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Ordinance is
Next
adopted.
item. Thank you, Ms. Adams.
Item 9, ordinance
Passed.
Ordinance authorizing purchase, sale agreement, and sale of real estate for economic development on the Alabama River at Morris Street with Equal Justice Initiative.
All right, Lois, tell me what's going on here. I've had some questions.
Yes, hello. This is an item to sell a little over 2 acres to the Equal Justice Initiative. It is property right at Moore Street. At the last council meeting, you authorized the sale of about 2 acres, a little under 2 acres, to the Montgomery Community County District, and this is just north of that. This is the remainder property just north.
Is this on the river?
Correct. It's on the river.
And it's off of Maxwell Boulevard?
This
Or
is off Maxwell Boulevard and
Okay.
Morris. This is the
This is
section
behind
that's
it. Now,
correct.
What's the purpose of this?
They, the Equal Justice Initiative is proposing to put a boat dock there. They would put in, they've committed to at least $1 million of investment for a boat dock, parking, landscaping, and it would connect to a new project up on the Alabama River. It's been a long time goal of the downtown Montgomery plan to activate our Alabama River. And this
Okay.
would be a boat dock that
Would it be public used? Or is it private boat dock?
this is a private boat dock.
Okay. All right, anyone for questions, council?
Will there still be a public boat dock up there?
We don't have one now.
Well, we do have one now.
Not really.
People used to use that boat dock now. There
Where?
was one point, up there by Riverside?
That's really, it's Magazine Park. I don't think it's really,
I think, yes, I think you're thinking of
is
the
it?
Powder
I
Magazine
guess
Park.
we consider that would be our.
There is a
dock.
ramp there that hasn't been usable for many years, and Gould Mills Kaywood believes it needs about $2 million of work to make it
Yes.
usable.
Question. Okay.
So, yeah.
Any other questions? Need a motion to suspend the rules?
Motion to suspend the rules?
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt?
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
I'm sorry, I abstained. I didn't
Eight.
vote on that.
I'm sorry, I didn't notice that, 1 abstention.
Okay, number 11.
Number 10,
10, okay, number 10.
resolution renaming Myrtlewood Park to Thomas M. Thompson Jr. Memorial Park.
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like
Yes,
to
sir.
say a few words. Tommy Tyson, as many of you knew, loved his family, his friends, and this city, most importantly. He worked in the planning department for 22 years and lived on Myrtlewood, where he raised his family. He was honest, able, reliable, and helpful, and he was a true servant leader. And so I think this is a good way to honor
Very
him.
appropriate.
Very appropriate, and I appreciate the community support wanting to get this passed. So,
Motion.
motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to approve.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 11, resolution establishing City of Montgomery Youth Advisory Council.
Ms. Johnson?
Yeah, Mr. President, Council, presenting this resolution to move forward with the agenda of the youth that came before us last council meeting and some things that I had presented to the council when I first came on board. I'd like to do this to bring an initiative to our high schoolers to get them involved in the civic government, give them something that's proactive, to keep them engaged, and to also be our advisors to the youth of the city. So that's like a bridge from the youth to the adults, and it's something that's bringing them out of high school into adulthood, and they have that engagement. And this will be something where we'll run an election, they'll be voted in by their peers, and it'll be someone representing each one of our districts. So I'm asking you all to support me on this.
Need a motion to suspend the rules?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
A motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is
Thank you.
adopted. Item 12, resolution urging the Alabama legislature to pass local legislation permitting the city to utilize the summons and complaint procedure as an appropriate alternative to a custodial arrest.
Ms. Johnson, that's you.
Yeah. Mr. Dees, if you come up. Council, I initially spoke to you all about the citations in lieu of arrest some months ago. I think it's almost been about 5 months now that we spoke about it originally, coming forward with me talking about instead of booking people that are in possession of something like a dime bag or below, we would give them citations. So that way we can ease the financial burden and our police officers to keep them on the street. But as of recently, we had a pre-filed bill at the House from Representative Chris England, House Bill 13. And Mr. Dees had some news for us about that, but I wanted to present this resolution instead of the ordinance tonight in support of that House bill that Mr. Dees, if you can go ahead and give us some updates on it, and then I'll move forward.
Yes, so the brief update is the bill that Councillor Johnson is referencing is House Bill 13 that was sponsored by Representative Chris England out of the Tuscaloosa area. And that bill just passed the House about 50 minutes ago with a vote of 104-0, which, if you all are familiar with the state legislature, that almost never happens. So I think that speaks to just the common sense and bipartisan support behind that. To give a little bit of context behind this, there was a piece of legislation that went forward in the state legislature last year dealing with citation in lieu of arrest for low-level nonviolent offenses, misdemeanors, and violations. That made it all the way through, but there were some clarity questions as far as which municipalities this legislation would apply to. And so there are questions from some of the larger cities that employ full-time municipal judges, whether or not they were captured under that language. So for the past 12 to 14 months, I've been traveling around and speaking with some of the various municipalities, Tuscaloosa, Huntsville, Birmingham, and Montgomery, to try and pass resolutions calling on the state legislature to clarify that language so that way the cities know exactly where they stand. Tuscaloosa last April went ahead and just passed an ordinance, and they have been enacting that ordinance as we speak for over a year. The city of Huntsville opted to do what the city of Montgomery is considering right now, which is just passing that resolution calling on the state legislature to pass statewide legislation. And so that's what brings us here today. I can speak to some of the merits of this. I believe it's, again, a common sense approach. It saves law enforcement officers time. Instead of sitting behind their desks dealing with booking and paperwork, they're able to actually be out in the community focusing on public safety. From an individual standpoint, it allows individuals to not miss time off of work, which obviously benefits small business owners as far as staffing and issues of that concern go. So from all standpoints, it benefits everyone.
State today?
It passed the state house, and so it'll go before the Senate Judiciary, or most likely will be assigned to Senate Judiciary, which is chaired by Senator Barfoot, who I will probably be stopping by his office tomorrow morning and speaking with him.
Okay.
So that's where we stand.
Any questions? Anybody got a question? Let's move on.
All right.
Motion
Motion to suspend the rules.
Have motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you.
Unanimous.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mr. Dees.
Item 13, application for a rental hall event center by Marcus Green doing business as Flavor Event Center at 546 East Patton Avenue.
13, is there a Representative Marcus Green of the Flavor Event Center here? Flavor Event Center. Marcus Green. They're not here. And do we need a public hearing on
Yeah.
this?
No, I
I
don't.
didn't think so, okay.
I don't think so. I was going to
We just
carry
carry
it
this over
over.
because they're not here? Or you want to,
Yes, I was going to carry it over.
which one do, Clay?
I was going to carry it over,
Okay.
Mr. President.
Carry it over. All right.
Item
14.
number 14, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only doing business as Quick Shop at 5400 Wares Ferry Road.
Representative for Wares Ferry Quick Shop? Yes, sir.
Good evening, this is Dugesh representing MGM 103 INC.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion, Mr. Grimes?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Good luck with your business, sir.
Resolution is adopted.
Thank you.
Item 15, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Quick Shop at 4291 Atlanta Highway.
Representative of the Atlanta Highway Quick Shop, please. Yes, sir. So you coming up. Your name, sir?
Ashish Patel.
Mr. Patel. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Mr. Lyons? Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous? Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business, sir.
I'm here for the next one, 216.
Are you?
Yeah.
Item 16, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Quick Shop at 565 North Eastern Boulevard.
Your name again, sir?
Ashish Patel.
Okay, Mr. Patel. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. Brought before the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous? Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with business.
Thank you. Item 17, application for a lounge retail liquor Class 2 package license.
Who is this?
Doing business as Spirit and Wine at 3447 Norman Bridge Road.
There you got it. Uh-oh. Okay, represent. Your name, sir, for the record.
Ed Fleming with Hodges Commercial Real Estate, and I represent Anisha Islam.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. You want to speak against it?
I do. Marcus McQueen.
Okay, Mark.
I was probably about a year or so ago, I was trying to get the same package store license, probably about 30 yards away from the location. Curious on the outcome. Don't know what your outcome will be, but just let you know I was denied.
Right. So, thank you, Marcus. Ed and I had a conversation, and then you also sat down with the Cloverdale Idlewild Association. I do have issues with this application. There needs to be some more dialogue with the CIA as well as Marcus and the surrounding property owners. So I'd like to carry this item over for 2 more weeks so we can hash that out.
Certainly look forward to the conversation.
Thank you.
Okay, public hearing been held. Let me carry it over.
Item 18, application for a lounge retail liquor Class 1 license, doing business as Deuces at 5028 Vaughn Road.
Representative Deuces. Glenn, just you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your name for the record, please?
Tanjanita Hardy.
Yeah, Hardy. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing's been held before the council.
Move to suspend rules.
Have motion been rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Court.
Item 19, application for lounge retail liquor Class 1 license, doing business as VIP Lounge, 726 Charlie Brazel Place.
Representative, yes, sir. Your name for the record?
Kenyatta Jarrett.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. Talk to the council. Mr. Lyons?
That's mine.
Here, Grimes, Mr. Grimes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Have motion been ruled on, favor raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with business, sir.
Item 20, application for a special retail more than 30 days liquor license, doing business as Baristas and Barristers LLC at 547 South Orange Street.
You are?
Monica Whiting.
Okay, Monica. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. Proper for the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules?
The motion been rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is
Get over
adopted.
there.
Thank you. Item 21, resolution designating nuisance abatement agent.
Suspend the rules. Yeah, that's the table. I need
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules and remain in the agenda.
a- All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
Move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 22, resolution assessing the cost of abatement of unsafe structures on various lots.
Have a motion to adopt.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 23, pursuant to Section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of unsafe structures at the listed locations.
Mr. President, move to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Hold up. You
Somebody
want,
wants
somebody
to
want to speak on it?
Which one, 20?
22? We're on 23.
You didn't,
Who got the property
you didn't
on
sign up for
18
20.
The 1809 North Ripley Street. Norris Harris.
1809 North.
Ripley Street?
Yes, my deceased father, yes.
Ripley Street, you said?
Yes,
You said that was item 22?
yes.
1800 North Ripley Street.
Yeah, 1800.
You need to make a
This
motion to
1800,
reconsider.
1809, 1800. Yes.
Council, you need to make a motion to reconsider 22.
Yeah, let's get a motion. I need a motion to reconsider.
Motion to reconsider.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Now,
All right, now we'll motion to
Yeah.
exclude that.
What's the
She
issue?
wanna,
What's the address now?
We're addressing that we did not know the property being demolished.
Brandon.
The demolition of the property.
My father is deceased, and we was planning on fixing up his first, my parents'
Brandon.
first home.
Just a minute here. Let's talk.
So we just spoke recently. I had no previous knowledge of this, but I believe the issue is going to come that their father owned a piece of property that we served notice on as being unsafe and ultimately demolished it. And then now that the lien is being set to be placed on the property, they have come forward and said that their father has passed away. And I informed them that we could meet at our office to go through the specifics and the timeline of all our dates of action, but I don't have the file in front of me to give specific information onto it tonight.
So if you contact,
Yeah, okay, just contact him because
yeah,
we did not
contact
know
him.
about that.
He'll work it out for you. Okay.
and you said the property's already been demolished?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. They'll work it out for you. Okay. Steve, Mr. Hodge, okay? All right, we don't need it.
got to readopt it, council.
Mr. President,
You gotta
Okay, I need a
readopt.
motion to
move to
adopt.
adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand. Adopt.
Unanimous.
Okay. All right,
Item number 13.
23.
Item number 23, we've read it. The Councillor Calhoun made a motion to uphold.
Okay.
We just
All in
need to
favor,
vote
raise your
on that
hand.
one. Unanimous.
24.
Item 24, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing costs of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
All in
Move to
favor, raise
vote.
your hand.
Did Mr. Calhoun make the motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Unanimous. Okay.
All right. All right, we got one more resolution here from the, which one do this resolution?
I've got several of them. Which one are you going to take first?
Take Mr. Mitchell's resolution.
Mr. Mitchell's?
We talked about my resolution in work session.
Yeah, you want to?
I just want to carry it over. It was just for discussion.
Okay.
Can I read it so the
Put it on
public knows
agenda,
what
you
it
want
is,
to put it on
please?
agenda?
I need to read it so the public
Okay.
knows. It's a resolution of the Montgomery City Council to obligate American Rescue Fund Plan Act funding to the Parks and Recreation Department for the new construction of the community center. And you're carrying that one over.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, now, the one for the mayor.
Okay. Ordinance authorizing mayor to execute contracts and NDAs through November the 13th, 2023.
Need a motion to suspend the rules on this.
Motion to suspend the rules?
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt?
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted.
All right.
Okay.
Next ordinance you got here.
Mr. Pruitt has one.
Is that mine, Charlie? Yeah.
Ordinance allowing sworn officers the ability to work off-duty to enforce the traffic flow for the city of Montgomery.
Hey, I wanted to share something with the council and the mayor. Mayor, these are the number of speeding tickets alone that we wrote starting in 2016 and ending in 2022. In 2016, if y'all remember, the city of Montgomery got labeled as, quote, debtor's court for locking people up that were not paying speeding tickets. And the individuals that we were locking up owed thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and we're not making a $20 or $25 payment on those thousands of dollars that they owed. One of the largest complaints that we get as a council is speeding throughout the city and through our neighborhoods. So what this ordinance is going to do is our men and women in the police department are already overworked and don't want to take a lot of off-duty jobs. That's why I made the price of the off-duty job $65 an hour for them to enforce speeding laws, our traffic laws, through our neighborhood associations, taking money from us to hire the off-duty officers. And if you guys read it, if they do work at nighttime, they're required 2 officers, still at $65 per hour.
What about, what's that
Sir?
do, what's that do to the private businesses that are otherwise that
But, Charlie, you can still hire off-duty officer. There's a big difference between sitting at ABC Bank on a Saturday afternoon versus pulling somebody over for a traffic stop, I think, in my opinion. And I think that the level of work that they are doing and pulling somebody over versus sitting at a business is a little bit more dangerous than sitting there watching Netflix while they're guarding ATM bank.
you talk to, who's the chief at? Chief,
Mr. Pruitt,
Yes, sir.
I just have a question. With this price, you don't have $65 an hour. So how do that affect, like Mr. Jenright was saying, for someone that wants to hire a off-duty officer at a bank?
They would still pay the $35 or $40 an hour.
So
what is
I mean, I
required
wouldn't
today.
want to take that job if I can take a $65 an hour job doing traffic for 4 hours. So if we're gonna do it, why not across the board?
Because again, in my opinion, sitting in guarding a Winn-Dixie at night at 10 o'clock when their employees are leaving versus pulling a carload of kids over today is a little bit more dangerous. And they don't want to work now because, guys, listen, as of last Tuesday, we had 354 police officers and we're losing them every single day. They're overworked. They don't want to do off-duty
We're not
jobs.
losing them every single day. We're not losing them every single
Yeah, we
day.
are, Mayor. Yeah, we are.
We're not losing them every
Okay.
single day.
All right. Yes, we are.
So,
I
so
mean,
don't,
that's
hold,
fine.
we're not losing them every single day. So don't, now, it's one thing for somebody in the public to say that, and that's fine. They don't have to let
We
facts
are
be their
losing them,
friend.
Mayor.
We're not losing them every single day. As a matter of fact,
What's the total number?
as a matter of fact, when the chief comes back, I have him present to the whole council exactly where we are. And I think you'll get a different report.
We were at 354 2
I
weeks
think you'll
ago.
get a different report.
Well, I mean, everybody can make up a different report.
Well,
I know
but
the
you can't
numbers.
say it's a make-up number just because you disagree with
I'm
it. I can
not
say you're
making
making
the
up your
numbers up,
numbers.
Mayor. But that's where I'm at on that, guys.
Don't throw out hyperbole of stuff that you don't know.
Hyperbole, Mayor. I
What's
know
that?
exactly where we're at.
Okay.
I know exactly
You
where we're at.
you have your folks who tell you some things. I get mine from the chief.
Okay.
All right. So I think I'll take my facts before I take yours.
Well, I appreciate that.
All right.
Mr.
And
President.
I really didn't ask your opinion on this.
I didn't say you asked for it. I gave it to you.
Yeah, I hate that. That's
Mr. President,
yes, sir.
I think when Stacy was here, I think we had an issue. Has that issue been resolved for as a legal standpoint of them being off duty and writing tickets? I know Stacy had a kind of gray area. Has that area been?
Not, and I apologize, I did not see the resolution before I got here tonight, so I didn't have a chance to look at it, but my understanding is no. It's still in the gray kind of area, because again, they're off duty. And it could implicate some other issues regarding line of duty, if they were injured, and so forth and so on. But it does need to be clarified.
Yeah, and all I was doing was introducing this to carry it over, but I mean.
Just carry it over, see what we
Yeah,
got.
but you look at the numbers, Charlie, 200 and,
Oh,
or
there's no
2,900
question.
tickets we wrote.
No question.
That's-
Tickets, we need tickets.
It's not upset, it's not acceptable.
Speeding is a problem. Okay, so we'll put it on, carry it over,
Yes, sir.
okay? What else you got?
I have put before you contingency funds.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, at the last meeting, Councillor McInnes requested $2,000 for That's My Child, and
That's denied, and I don't know why he would request it. So I'm not signing that.
That's fine. You can just say no.
pardon?
That's fine. You can just say no. He can just say no.
Okay. So are you withdrawing it?
That's fine.
So, okay, the mayor has approved for District 4, 2,000 to King's Canvas Gallery. And I have a new request, Mr. Mayor, from District 7, 2,500 to the Carver Culinary Arts Department.
Approved.
Ms. Blaylock,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know how much money I got, so I'm gonna read these numbers off, and if it don't work, y'all just let me know I ain't got no money.
Okay.
I wanna give, I'm sorry. I wanna give, West End Boys and Girls Club, 2,000. Homeview Educational.
Wait just a second, I
I'm
can't
sorry.
write that fast. 2,000 to West End Boys and Girls Club?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Homeview Educational Center.
Homeview? Okay, I'll have to check and make sure that one's a vendor.
Okay, it's a little program down in Bama for the youth during the summer. I've given it before, but you can check it.
Okay,
It's the
we'll check it.
beginning.
How much to them?
2,000.
Okay.
I want to give WRC Reading Readiness.
Were you given to them before too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how much?
2,000.
Okay.
And then Greater Washington Park, 1,000.
Okay.
And the YMCA Achievers,
Okay.
2,500.
2,500. Okay, is that all?
Yes, ma'am. I don't know if I got enough, but
Anybody else?
Check on it. Mr. Mayor, you okay with these?
Yep.
Need to vote?
Okay, anybody else? Need a motion to adopt this?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Okay. Johnny Stanky is here to talk to us. And Johnny?